This is Harry with Mine Operator, and I've been tasked with testing out the Hollywood vein. If you've watched our past videos, you've seen us do some small testing, about 40 pounds of what we call the Hollywood vein. And this is actually part of a large vein that runs a few thousand feet in a mine that we call the Root Beer Mine. And this is the northern part of the vein, and they ran into sulfides, and we're testing this vein out. Now our little 40-pound sample yielded some gold. We just picked up some float that we found on the ground to kind of see what was in the dump, and we came back again to take a larger bulk sample. Now the workings underneath here, over 100 feet down, they ran into a sulfide layer in the deposit and they quit mining it, so they weren't able to recover the gold from the sulfides. So we're going to test it out today. I'm actually going to have to muck all this and get down to the vein and take a sample from the vein itself. Years back, Chad had gone down this shaft and deemed it unsafe to proceed. There's a haulage, I guess you could call it a drift, but there's a lot of stope underground underneath my feet, and it's unsafe to go down on this shaft. So we talked about sinking a sister shaft next to this one, parallel to it, to get down into the workings and go from there. Now if the vein has values, and this is the stuff that kind of reminds us of root beer, so we call it Root Beer Mine. If the vein itself, when we sink the shaft on this, has values, it's worth sinking a shaft to get down on the workings. So we're going to do a little larger channel sample. Well, I've started in on my channel sample. I hit the vein, and this stuff is really soft. This stuff is really soft. So it looks like this is altered country rock or something squished up through here. But then we have the vein material that had came up either before or after, I'm not sure, but there's a good chance it's a secondary alteration. Let me crack that one open. Eyeballs. All right. Nice. A little bit of chrysocolla in there. Chalcedonic quartz maybe. That's really pretty actually. So this good chance there were some multiple alterations here. Primary, secondary. I'm not quite familiar with this part of the vein, but it's pretty soft, so I'll go as wide as I can go here, get my 100 pounds, take it back, crush it, split it, and send it off for assay. And we'll go check in with Chad and Rudy. They're out prospecting another location as we speak. Go see what they're up to.
So here I am in the desert, and it's raining again. Just have a storm came out of nowhere. So I'm gonna see if it passes. I gotta get all my climbing gear on and set up a rope right now, and the weather is not cooperating. Story of my life with rain. At this very moment, Harry is at a different mine where it's sunny and hot, and he's probably hating it and rather be somewhere where it's cloudy, cold, and raining, which is where I'm at. And I'd rather be where it's super hot and sunny, but is what it is. We're gonna get down in this hole and pull a sample. Looks like there's a little break in the weather, so gonna get after it.
All right, everybody. I got my mask on because it's pretty dusty in here. And so I am approximately 80 feet down. And I am on the second drift. What I'm going to do is take a sample from this vein that I took in that one video with Rudy, safely accessing a mine shaft. And so this vein, we got about a 1/2 ounce to the ton, and it fluctuates in size.
You can see it's a little over 2 feet here, 2.5. Pinches, swells, pinches, swells. So what I want to do is grab a sample from at least 10 feet, and I'll take, hanging wall, foot wall, throughout the vein, hanging wall, and I'll do that throughout. Gotta find out if this is mineralized, and that's why they chased it. But then why this is here, it's probably everything that was in there. Backfilled there, so maybe they weren't getting any values over there, I don't know. But we need to do a lot more prospecting in this mine. But there's a decent amount of workings. Let's take this sample and let's find some gold. Now I'll show you where I've been taking samples. Alright, starting over here. Sample, sample, sample. Gotta come, okay, here we go. Sample. I'm gonna have to make a couple of those deeper. Sample, sample, sample. Sample, 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 okay. That gives you an idea of where I've been taking my samples. And right now, I have probably 5 to 8 pounds. What I might have to do is just start doing channel samples and take them back with me, crush them down and mill them. Okay. Alright, so right here we have a dip of 30 degrees. $34 degrees. $30 degrees. $36 degrees. $45 degrees. Okay. Does look like it's getting a little steeper there. So probably averaging like right there, 35 degrees. 35 degree dip's not bad. Check it over here. 32, 38, 33, 32. Okay, and let's go ahead and check the dip direction, the orientation. All right, so looking at this now, it is dipping northwest about 290 degrees. The strike of the vein is northeast about Northeast 45 degrees.
We have our samples from the channel sample. I'm just about finished. I'll probably play around a little more. I got this section to go. It's pretty soft, but there's these big chunks in here that are kind of cool. So I've been finding a little bit of copper and not too much of a quartz vein. We'll keep going. Well, I finished my channel sample, and then as I was going, I got into this nice limonite in between these little nodules of calcite and quartz. I've exceeded my channel sample requirements, and now I'm chasing this limonite. So I'm going to take another side sample because this is kind of a high grade, you know, it's not the full width here. So I'm just playing here now, unsupervised again, of course. But let's see, nice limonite. It's a little more brown than I'm used to seeing, but it's definitely an iron. So we'll bag this one up separately and see what that looks like. There's definitely sulfides here. I started cracking some of the rocks open, and there were definitely, looks like iron pyrite in there, but you know, I'll know when I get the X or F on it. But looks promising for a surface sample. I'm done having fun, but I wanted to show you this. This is some calcite, chalcedony, something, chalcedonic quartz, somewhere in that ballpark. But there's chrysocolla, and there's all these little, of course the wind starts right now, right when I start recording. There's all these little glittery calcite botryoidal things, and there's this little fan, little botryoidal fan right there. It's pretty cool. Got some more right here. So I don't know if the chrysocolla shot through the rock or it's just in the cracks, but I might cut a few of these and see what they look like. Cool find. All right, we'll bag this up and get down the hill to the next spot.
So I get out of the mine and it's sunny. Storm's gone. Might as well go underground when it's either raining or super hot. We're interested in taking a sample back to the mill site to see if we can run it and recover the gold through our equipment. We are going to set up our Nefco centrifuge after the shaker table, and we are going to change out the matting in our sluice. We did notice some gold loss after the shaker table, and so we messed around with the water flow on the Nefco, and we found right around 15 to 20 gallons per minute is working to recover gold that the table's missing. So you got to remember, gold has many different shapes, flat but foil, rounded like nuggets, and so all these different sizes, it needs a different kind of trap. So there's not one trap that gets it all, except for maybe leaching, but still you can't leach big nuggets. So it looks like the prospectors prospected here. They actually opened up to some workings down below. So I want to go in there, check that out. To get there, got to go into this other working. So can't see it on the camera, but it's about 20-25 feet deep. So I'm going to go ahead and get down there and I'll show you around. I was able to follow the vein. It's narrower in here. It's along the hanging wall. And wow, take a look at that bug. What kind of bug is that? Well, doesn't want me to bug it, so. All right, still looking for snakes. I haven't been in here before, so. So this is a shallow working. dead end's there. And that connects to the other workings. Oh, check it out. A dead tarantula. He's seen better days. Okay. Still looking for snakes. He could be living in there. Be a rat. Alright, moving slowly. Okay, here's some of the vein. It's actually pretty wide here. No wonder they chased it. So there's that little working. It came out, or that I just showed you on the camera. Nice airflow in here. There's a lot of stringer veins going through this mica schist. There's a lot of quartz stringers just everywhere. So for this, you'd have to take a channel sample, and if it has enough values to run it, then run it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth it. Okay, so this is kind of filled in over the years, just with slough from the surface. But they must have got values through here. That's why they chased it. So I'd suspect you'd get some values in this, but wouldn't know until you ran it. A lot of iron in there, quartz. There you go. The orientation in here changes so drastically. And the vein could be well into the hanging wall now. It could widen out. So it's not extremely defined. Kind of hard to read. All right, moving slowly in here. Let's look for the vein. Here we go. Tension and swelling. There it is again. But I wouldn't be surprised if you're getting values in this all the way through here. So we'll have to come back at a later time and sample that. I gotta get out of here. Oh, look at all the calcite. Alrighty. Prospecting for another day. So I hiked out 3 full sandbags, probably got maybe 40 pounds in each, plus 5 to 8 pounds of cuttings. Probably good, close to 130 pounds, 125 pounds. So we're gonna see how they run, how much gold we get out of them.
This is a pretty good view of the tailings pile that I have to sample. Looking at it, I've already taken a couple samples from the high side, and I'm going to go down and take a couple more from the low side and bring that back, mix them together and split them. But it's a pretty big tailings pile. I'm not gonna lie, that's probably the biggest I've seen around here. I am on the south side of the tailings pile. Very large. It's kind of made like a little canyon here. So I'll take a couple samples from this end and work my way back north. There's a lot. We have our samples bagged and tagged. Samples from the tailings, sample from the Hollywood vein. It's time to head back and process. I'm still not used to the higher temperature out here. I'm used to sea level 70 degrees and perfect weather, so we'll head back down the hill.
Well, I have to resort to using a tamping rod and a 1/4-inch steel plate to crush some rock, as I don't have a jaw crusher at home. But it's not a big deal. I don't have to do too much. Just 22 pounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and break this up. It's turning out not too bad. Getting a pretty good crush here. And gold all over my hands. All right, so I got a lot, probably about 25 pounds crushed down. Looks like maybe 1 inch minus, 3/4 minus. And I got with me the crunch. So I'm gonna try crushing some with the crunch and see how well it does. Take it to the next level. Using a baby jaw crusher to process a sample. So I don't know if you guys seen this before. I recently got it and I'm excited to try it. It's a little slow with the hand crank. Now this is a 1/2-inch drive. Apparently these pieces are already too small. There you go, something crunching. Now to really test this little unit out, the crunch. So this is probably about 2 inches by 2 inches. Barely fits in the top. All right, I want to see if it can crush this. Now still wear safety glasses and a dust mask. Ooh, they're a little hard to hold the GoPro and crush it, so let me readjust. And increase the torque on this. Okay. Oh yeah, it did it. Crunch. Eat it. Okay, I could probably switch over to the drill. Let's try that. All right, I'm not gonna try to hold that film and try to drill. I'm gonna have 2 hands on this just in case it bites real hard. Yeah, it bites. Yeah. Woo. All right, it did it. Let's take a look. It took it down. I'm impressed. Very nice. All right, that's a cool little machine, the crunch. All right, so if you hammer this plate down, it shortens the gap and gets a finer crush. And when I say finer crush, look at that. That's actually really, really good. It's probably like 1/4 minus, maybe 3/16 minus. I'm actually impressed with that. That's gonna make my job a lot easier. Initially, I was crushing down to this, and now I could crush down to get some more fines. So that's extremely helpful. I'm screening it. This will be my product. I might actually try to bring it down more than even that, but keep you posted. So anybody want a chocolate gold protein shake? Can't believe that worked. That's one way to use a NutriBullet. Wow, that worked good. Now this is a 20 mesh screen. So that actually did a pretty good job. I took a small amount of what I screened, put it in a pan, and I want to pan it just to see if we're getting any gold from the sample we took. And as always, put jet dry in the water. Probably have to add jet dry, a lot more of it as I continue to pan, but gonna have to make sure everything gets mixed up really well, gets wet. I'm gonna speed this up for you and put this in time lapse and get straight to the end and show you the good stuff. All right, so I got it down to a manageable level. Have a little bit of water left in the pan. I know it might be a little hard to see with the shadow, so I'm gonna try to work with that. Give you a first person view here panning. A little too much water on that one. You don't always see a lot of gold right at the start. Sometimes you got to pan it all the way down to the very end. I see some stuff floating, so get some more jet dry on that. And I had already added jet dry to this, so it gets consumed. Oh yeah, all right. That is some nice color. I'm not gonna be able to get any weights and come up with any quantitative numbers during this video. I just wanted to show you a quick pan with gold in it, and then we gotta take it up to the mill site and run it through our system. We have a lot going on, you guys. We're excited to run Merrick's ore. It's still back at the mill site. We can't wait to fire up the drills, test those out. So be patient with us. There's only so much time in a day. Stay tuned for a lot of great videos coming up, especially what's behind me and what I'm fabricating. Stay tuned for that video.